here.
Okay, so we're recording live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of SAFSIMS webinar, which we've termed SAFSeries. We'll be having a conversation around tips to automate and speed up school administrative processes and every other thing in between. And to have this conversation with us this morning is Rejoice and Margaret. Rejoice and Margaret are both superstars in the customer success department of FlexiSAF, which is the mother brand for SAFSIMS. We're yielding the floor now for them to introduce themselves and then take the conversation away. Should we have any questions, comments, or feedback, we can use the chat button at the lower right bottom of the screen, so we can address them during the question and answer segment of the webinar. Rejoice, Margaret, over to you.
Yes. Hi, Sonia. Please confirm you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear.
All right, great. Okay, so today would actually be discussing, it's kind of like a discussion on tips for teachers and school administrators as well to automate and speed up school processes, as well as ensure effectiveness in school processes, administration processes, and all processes involved actually with schools. So at this point, I would be having this conversation, as Sonia said, with Margaret, and we're actually going to be discussing some issues basically that schools have had over time with the processes that are important in navigating around and running a school, right? So hi Margaret, good morning. We could start. So what are some of the issues that some schools or most schools actually encounter in school activities or administrative processes? Hi Margaret.
Yeah, hi, please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, so yeah, like just said, so in order to pick up this conversation, we first of all need to more or less highlight the pain points as to why we're having this conversation in the first place, and to talk about our experiences in the field. So one of the pain points and challenges that we have identified is the aspect of human errors when it comes to your normal traditional methods. So to more or less kick off my point, I have a very short story to share as regards to this particular point. So there was a time back in secondary school where I was so determined to be among the first three in school, and to be among the first three, you have to have all straight A's for that particular continuous assessment. So there was a particular subject that the teacher came to class because she was unsure of what she had recorded in her book as regards to scores. And she was like, if you have any problem with your scores, please can you bring your scripts that I've already given to you for me to annotate and ensure that I give you the right mark. So I already was on a good mark, which was on the A, but I was looking for more marks, about 2 marks to push to 18. So I entered the line and I got there. So when I showed her a particular place that I felt like I should have been given more marks, she, at the point she had quite a temper there, and she was upset with me. She was like, okay, why did you join the line? You don't have a problem. And she on my paper, she just wrote there -2. And putting -2 brought me back to 14, which was on B grade. And that spoiled my plan completely as to having an A in that subject. And that was going to ruin my whole aspiration to have all straight A's. But as the first thinker that I did something. I just thought about it. Back then when you're in school, you're thinking crazy. So I did something. So while she was leaving the class, she was like, oh, you still have problems, please come and meet me. Now, unfortunately, it's like she didn't pay attention to my face. So I thought about something. So when she wrote the -2, I used my hand to press the -2. And I went to it. I was like, oh man, you recorded 14 marks for me. Meanwhile, I have 16. She was like, oh, she looked at it. She was like, oh, that's true. I recorded. I should give me back 15 marks. I was just on my 16 points. So now, what am I trying to say? This is all human error, right? That can come with your traditional call recording and things like that. So in this regard, she was not sure of what she had recorded in her book, right? Because she's human and she needed to be sure that everything was in place. And she came to the classroom to confirm. And you can see that I went back to her and she still didn't have faith in what she had recorded, right? So that's one of the things that we can identify as a pain point. And generally you cannot trust that particular record again because it has been tampered with. But then who knows? I think I'm the only person that has an idea, probably a few friends. And then another pain point that I have identified is the aspect of increased workload. So we have a lot of students, right? In a school where it is highly populated, we have a lot of student data when it comes to attendance, when it comes to score entries, right? These processes are very cumbersome. And these are teachers now trying to merge, handling this amount of data with, trying to teach the students. So we have identified that human error is a thing, and which of course can be brought about by heavy workload when it comes to the pain points regarding automating a process. So at this point, I think I'd like to invite you, Joyce, to talk about our own experiences when it comes to pain points in school.
Yeah, that was actually a very funny story. Funny that it was actually true. So yeah, there are lots of issues regarding all these processes in school. And one thing I would like to point out is loss, loss of resources, money and time. Money is very important. So imagine at the start of the term, for most schools, from our interactions, they get stationaries, you have your papers, you have all the whole um items that you need for your administrative processes and your administrative work. And just imagine you not having to buy all of this at the start of the term and just focus on doing other things with these resources. Money is needed in a lot of things, and with the way the economy is going, you want to have something that actually reduces where your resources is going to and putting it in the right places, right? And then there's also the loss in time. So having to scroll through books. Imagine an accountant having to go through books. There's time to determine who has paid, who has not paid, and you have a book for just 1A, you have a book for just 1B, you have a book for, imagine having an like for example, a school that has, I know in command we have from A to F. Imagine having all of those records and then the time you take to ensure that, oh, this person has paid, this person has not paid, and you can spend the entire day in schools where you have time for sending students out for school fees. Trust me, they spend hours trying to determine who has paid, who has not paid. Oh, this person
That's
has made bad payments and all. So that time can be put into other things like that are very productive, right? So these are most of the issues that we have with processes in school. And then you also have the issue of efficiency, right? Um, Being very efficient to store this data, right? You have cabinets and cabinets, and then you have stacking all of this. If there's a fire outbreak, natural causes can happen. There is rain. Probably you left the window open when you left the office, and it rained overnight, and you lose all of this data. Imagine having to now start to backtrace, asking all the students. I'm still using the fee for example. Asking the students to bring your receipts. Let's check if you've paid or you've not paid, and that is a whole lot, right? That's a very major issue, backtracking and that. So yeah, having highlighted all of these issues that are involved in school processes, um, is there actually a solution to all of this? We've actually highlighted a whole lot. So are there solutions to this, or is there a solution to these issues? Margaret, what do you think? Do we have a solution?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's why we're having this conversation in the first place, right? So I think
Yeah.
automated processes are it's like a major solution to all these pain points. So I think one of the solutions that I would want to talk about is the aspect of time saving, right? So like you mentioned before, and like I mentioned before, we talk about the workload and also the efficiency of the process, and then the timing that can be put into resourceful use. So with automation, you're able to save time, right? Because automation allows you to take normally daunting tasks that would take about an hour plus to reduce it to about 2 hours. Please confirm you can still hear me. Okay, all
Yes, we
right.
can.
So it's going to reduce the timing from about 2 hours to 5 minutes, right? So when we have things like trying to update scores, right? So normally you would sit at your desk to try to update scores, but with the system you can just simply, once you have marked your script, you're able to transfer it to the system directly, or even have it automatically uploaded, and of course this will be reflected in students' records. Another thing we would look at when it comes to automation is proper record keeping. like the story I mentioned before, the lady was unsure, of what she has, imputed when it comes to keeping her records, right? But with automation, you're able to ensure that you have correct reports, because this is not a case of, okay, I mistakenly imputed this, I mistakenly imputed that. Whatever figure you enter at the point of marking a script is a figure that is going to be showing, on your system. And then even if we are doing like a test, right, like a continuous assessment test, if you use like a CBT to, do your test, the computer automatically calculates the scores, right? And it's able to show you the scores. And you don't need to, more or less conflict with yourself as to what score was allocated to a particular student or what score was not allocated to a particular student. So I think, Rejoice, you might have, more solutions when it comes to these pain points that we've highlighted before.
Yeah, so just like you mentioned, automation, automating your processes, having this record, like we mentioned, the human errors. You have your records, facing you in real time, right? So imagine you having all of the students' records, you've imputed it, and you can see it in real time, right? It's easier to cross check to check. Okay, this should be done this way, or this should be done correctly this way, or all of those things right on your screen. And then still also going over to the fee or the admin. An admin can actually see everything that's going on. Should be able to see everything going on in the school without having to have all the teachers, extending your PTA meetings, or sorry, your teachers or staff meeting in the morning, extending it to get information. Oh, this person in your class, what are you doing? Your attendance, bring your attendance book, let's check it. When you automate these processes, the administrators or the admins can actually have this information in real time, and it's facing you in your screen, right? You're not going through, you're not flipping through books, you're not saying, oh, I left this book at home, tomorrow we can go over this again and all of that. It makes it more efficient, right? And thankfully you mentioned in the reporting, right? You automate these processes, you have your reports right on time. You can also have your fee management on the go. So imagine in a scenario where you have records from previous terms or previous sections. Say a student has graduated and they're coming back for their certificates, and you want to confirm if, okay, you're up to date with your payments to the certificate. You don't have to go back and flip through. You could just have an automated system that has all of these records that you, with just few clicks and buttons, you have the details of a particular student right looking at you, right? And then also I think you mentioned in attendance, but I'm not sure you mentioned that, but your attendance records. So over time we've seen scenarios where interacting with schools where you have attendance books, and it was a particular teacher that mentioned that I hate carrying these books to school because I have to take my school books, I have to take my children's stuff because she's also a parent, and then I have to take these attendance books, and it's really cumbersome because you have to have all the records of all the classes you're taking. So imagine
Yeah.
having an automated system where you just add click of buttons, give the students their attendance, and at the end of the term, instead of you counting present 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the traditional way, the system actually automates the counting for you. So Joy came to school 5 times this term. Ade came to school 7 times. It just eases that stress, right? And you focus on your primary reason for being in school, which is educating the students and bringing out better people in the society and community at large, right? So having mentioned all of these areas, of automation, the attendance, very cumbersome work, reports, that's details about your students, your parents, staff records, and then also your fee management, right? Now how can these areas actually be automated? So we've talked about automating. That's where a management system comes in, right? And very, very importantly, a good management system that takes all of these issues into considerations and automate them. So I'll be introducing the SAFSIMS. SAFSIMS is a school management portal that helps automate all of these processes on the go, right? And it's accessible to everybody as required. So I'll quickly just be sharing my screen. Just let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen clearly?
No, not yet. Oh,
It's coming
fantastic.
up.
Now we can see your screen. We have a couple of
Um,
questions. I'll just take them after we finish demoing the product.
All right.
okay. All right, okay. All right, so we mentioned that you having records, right? Keeping your records properly and having to go back in time. So imagine you have your total number of staffs, you know the active ones, you have deactivated ones. And for a particular staff also, you actually get to see the entirety of your records, right? From your biodata to other information, you know, when it's an emergency, someone to contact, and then other documents for a particular staff. And very importantly, being able to retrieve these documents, being able to retrieve these records in real time. So on SAFSIMS, you can actually have them as a PDF or an Excel report. So let me just show what the Excel looks like. So this is the Excel for your staffs. So you have all of your staff lists listed here,
The
and then you
screen is
can
yet to
actually download.
change. We're still seeing the dashboard, Rejoice.
Oh, okay. I'm
Margaret,
sorry
is it
about
any
that.
different on your end?
No, I'm still seeing the dashboard.
Okay, all right. Let me know if you can see my screen properly now. Okay, can you
It's
still see
still.
the dashboard?
Yes, we can
Yes, I
still see
can
the
see.
dashboard.
Okay, all right. Okay, no problems. Right, okay. All right. So can you still see the dashboard or do you see my screen?
Still see the dashboard.
All right, let me stop sharing quickly and just reshare again.
All right, great.
Okay.
I think the dashboard already answered some of the questions that we got. One of them was around other things that could be automated. During the conversation and the story that Margaret mentioned, we had the automation of, results, finance, attendance. We had a question around other things that could be automated, but the dashboard already highlighted that. But while you share your screen, maybe Margaret can quickly touch base on the other things that educators can benefit from respect to automation.
All right. Yes. Okay, Rejoice, are you still there?
So can you see my dashboard now or the screen?
We can see the template now.
All right, great. All right, so this is what the Excel looks like for the staff. And then, yeah, Margaret, you can go on. I'll just show this while you go on.
Okay, all right. Okay, so about the question about the processes that can be automated, I think one of the processes that I would like to highlight is the fees, because the fees is very, very important when it comes to, the school, because any mismanagement when it comes to the financial aspect of the school is something that can sink a school or make a school not to be sustained, right? So when we talk about the fees aspect, things that need to be automated is, the fees collection, record keeping. So what happens with automating this process is that you can ensure, right, that there are no leakages when it comes to compiling your financial data. So on SAFSIMS, we have a system that allows you to, receive, to create, invoices that you would send to parents, communicate with them to make their payments. And of course, we have a feature that allows you to record, how these payments were collected. So we have people who choose to make their payments using the online payment gateway. We have people who would prefer to come to the school to make payments in person using the POS or probably visiting the bank. So the system allows you to capture every single aspect. So you're able to determine wherever the source of the income was, right? So these processes need to be automated, especially when it comes to record keeping, right? So this allows you, with financial data, um, a lot of management information are based on it, right? So you're able to tell how much the school has in stock, how much the school is expecting as well, right? You're able to see like an overview of pending school fees that hasn't been paid by students yet. So another process that can be automated is the aspect of attendance, right? Because when it comes to attendance, the one thing that is very important when it comes to attendance is being able to access this data, quickly at a glance, because attendance is not something you wait till the end of the term to review and establish what went wrong and what did not go wrong, right? So with being able to upload your data to a system, you're able to come and review a particular student information. You're able to see, okay, this student was absent on this so data. You don't have to start counting it by yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, like we just mentioned, 3 out of 4 days, oh, she was absent. And sometimes you may not even be right, because you probably might have skipped a day, and you now have to go back and forth with the parents. Oh, my child was present on this day, you marked her absent, bring your register, something you can easily log into the system, search for the child, and of course the child's records is going to be displayed. So I can see that Rejoice is back to sharing her screen. So at this point, I think I'll just allow
Yeah.
her to continue with talking about the SAFSIMS system.
Yes, thank you very much, Margaret. So, like Margaret mentioned, you have your records, and then you can retrieve it in real time. And then also for the payments, for the fee admin, you actually can have access to all the records. So this is a payment report for a particular class. This is for class 4A, and we can have for all the classes that are in school, the cost, the discount that was given, you expected for that particular term for that class, and then how much was paid, and then the balance, and you have it sum total, right? So the system just does all of these automations, and then you can in real time fetch all of this. And then also you can have an item report, right? Where for each item that is to be paid for, you have a list of those that have paid. So over time in our interactions with school, we see where there are certain items that, for example, the end of year party, where you want to see the number of students that have paid for the end of year party, number of students that have paid for bus fare, number of students that have paid for their school fees for each classes. You can actually have that report. And then also on the parents' side, which is a particular place where most times it's very difficult to merge those two, that's the parents' records and their words, right? In schools, what you see is just the class teacher knowing the parents of a particular child, right? The admin would just have information on who registered that child at the time of admissions, right? But the to get who actually is the parents of that child, they have to contact the school, the class teacher. But in real time, actually, you can have the students, like for example, Danjuma has 2 children, and this has children. This is his phone number in case of an emergency, and details about him. And not just on the parent side, right? You can also have your staff lists of number of staffs you have, and then information about them. So I'll just quickly go in also and share a few things. Let me know if you can see my screen still.
Not yet, not yet.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we
All right,
can.
great.
Yes.
All right. So that's where we have the students, the parents' records as well, right? Parents' records as well, like you can see here. And then for the fee. So on the fee part, which is one very important area where records and automation should actually be on. SAFSIMS allows you to have a record of all the students in the school, track in real time what you're expecting, what has been paid. And then very importantly, you can go back in terms, right? You can go back in terms to see this. You can filter for each different class level. And then you can also see those that have, so you can filter out those that are fully paid, those that have overpaid, part paid, and unpaid. So you remember that instance where I mentioned at the time of school fee drive, there's always a long process, right? With this, you can actually just filter out those that are fully paid, those that are part paid, and those information. Also, based on interactions with school, which is also another issue that needs to be automated, you see where the fee admin has issues in giving out discounts. So imagine you having 3 children in the school, and the school wants to give out discounts based on number of children you have in the school. Now the fee admin has to liaise with the administrator, who has to liaise with the class teacher to know, okay, in your class, how many students or how many parents have multiple children in the school, right? But on SAFSIMS, it gives you this in real time, right? Just at click of buttons, you have the number of students, for example, here, 3 children for Hamid, and discounts actually can be given. So discount can be fixed or a percentage discount, right? So all of these records are here, and you can also track a transaction log, payment, how it's being made, who paid what, when did they pay this, and also it automates the process of issuing out receipts. So what we've seen over time is the school recognizes your payment, prints out the receipt, gives to the children to take home. But with SAFSIMS and with automation that SAFSIMS allows you for, um, receipts actually can be sent to the parent automatically. So as a parent, I've made my payments, right? And then instantly I get a receipt on my end, right? And also the school has a copy. So as a parent, I actually get to see my receipt. So this is also given to the parent that's on the parent app. So SAFSIMS also makes it easier in the whole automation process by providing a mobile app to the parents and also a mobile app for the teacher. So the parents can actually just get on their app and then check what has been done and what has not been done. And then Margaret also mentioned attendance, right, which is very important in school processes or in school management, right? So as a subject teacher, I can actually log into my SAFSIMS portal and then I can take my attendance. So if you see here, those present, those late, and those absent, I can also even send a comment to the parent, say, okay, your child was actually absent today for school. This has become a regular occurrence. And the parents will get notification and also see this on their the mobile app, that's the SAFSIMS mobile app for the school, right? And this attendance can be taken in real time as well. And
Thank
also,
you
like
so
we
much,
always mention,
Rejoice.
okay. Oh, sorry,
Thank
can you
you.
see me?
Yes, we can still see your screen. We can see your screen. However, we're a
All
little
right,
bit pressed
all right.
for time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for a very amazing conversation so far. We have spoken through the benefits of SAFSIMS and what you can do, especially with respect to attendance and finance. If you paid attention to the dashboard, you said there are a lot of other things you can do with SAFSIMS, and I would like to believe that we'll be having more conversations around some of these things as the weeks progresses. So thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of SAFSIMS webinar, and we would see you same time, maybe not same time, but same platform in the next few weeks. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. Margaret, Rejoice, there any closing remarks?
So yeah,
No, I
I
don't.
think we've actually rounded it up on that. So school should start automating